Так, ну чё, чат, возрадуемся или сильно заплачем? Узнаем через 3 минуты. Да не, красные цветочки — это Зана новый Pinnacle босс. Сори за спойлеры, блядь. Но это слишком очевидный намек, чат. 100% лучшая лига за год будет. Блядь, потому что единственное... W, блядь. Мяукай. Гав, блядь. Дропсы включены? Конечно, включены. Для этого нужно написать в чат восклицательный знак Гропс. И тебе сразу дропсы начислят. Даже ждать не надо будет.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from
Здорово.
Grinding Gear Games. And today we're here to showcase a new expansion for
Увы.
Theory 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now. Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June. And we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2. That means the next PoE 2 League will be in August, and the next PoE 1 League after that will be in October.
Верим, верим.
Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below. This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths, and your KDR. Just because Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't mean this isn't important. Proudly or shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off.
Можно погромче? Конечно.
And with that, let's get to why you're here. Secrets of the Atlas.
Зана Pinnacle босс. 100%.
And still never truly discover who you are. Trust me. I should know. But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for.
Ебать, битрейт вышел.
Trapped within the Atlas. Reliving memories. Made real.
What have you done?
Made grotesque. Made foul. These manifestations must be destroyed.
Пиксель Боб
Their
жесткий.
threads must be eradicated. I must have answers.
Не, на ютубе
We
будем
must find
пересматривать.
the originator. We must save my sister.
А, это брательник Заны.
Her power is an illusion made real.
Кингсмарш в коре. W, блядь.
Come, child, drink deep the waters of life.
You're either a client or a target.
Target in sight.
Just die.
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you. Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas Endgame update.
А, так
We'll
это
explore the new challenge
экспаншн.
league, the Mercenaries
Чат.
of Arthas.
Принесли
After that,
экспаншн с
we'll cover the
отдельной
integration
лигой,
of Gold
блядь.
into PoE 1, and how
Нихуя
we're bringing
себе,
Settlers of
блядь.
Helga into the core game. Finally, we have a much-awaited upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of quality of life improvements. Then, we'll wrap up by discussing our boss kill race event, showing you our new supporter packs,
Клянись,
and
да чё
ending with
клянись?
a live Q&A
Mercenaries
session.
Challenge League
Today
тебе,
we'll
блядь,
ask
ничем не
Jonathan and
говорит?
I your questions from Twitch chat. In Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within. Partway through the endgame, you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working with Egan, you must step through and find Zana, or whatever remains of her. Okay, so that's the story background. But how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egon and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your atlas, a thread of memories. In order to now access each map on the thread, you simply need to talk to Egon when you're ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence. These areas can be fully influenced by your atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort. As you work your way along the thread, you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat. Different maps on the thread have different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills. For example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items, meaning they can now only drop more valuable items, like currency and maps. Memory of Panic will make all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them. And Memory of Impatience will cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your power. As you progress further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability. As you gather memory petals, you can use these powers together. Each skill costs its own amount of memory petals. So using the examples above, you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use Memory of Disbelief to cause them to drop better, more valuable items. Finally, obliterate them all. The Memory of Panic will kick in, causing them to revive, and then wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the experience and enhanced drops twice. There are many combinations of these powers, so you'll have to carefully consider how they best work together. That's not the only extra layer of content juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar. This altar will apply a modifier to all following maps in the thread, and these will stack as you go, so the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have. This, combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile. Let's take a look at some of the altar mods. You are always presented with two choices and must pick one. This mod, for example, will cause some rare monsters to be possessed by tormented spirits, where this mod makes Kerak modifiers free to craft. Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread. The final map in each thread is a true challenge, with all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar, but dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying. In this map, you will fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge. If you manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egon can use to delve deeper into the memory tiers. With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses. In this arena, the Moment of Reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate speech in Oriath. The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare, the incarnation of dread. Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles. Of course, if you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them. If you slay the incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the Star Caller unique abyssal axe. We're gonna show this one because it's straight up badass. The Starcaller acts as a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new skill.
Прикольный эффект.
With the right build, you can carpet entire areas and wipe out screens of enemies as you rain down the elements upon them. Another item you may find, and this one is my favorite, is the Wine of the Prophet unique flask. It consumes a lot of charges, but every time you use it, you draw a random divination card. This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff. If you draw the Escape card, you'll gain increased movement speed. Or maybe you'll draw the Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you kill. Effectively, you can think of this unique as being many other uniques all in one. There are many cards to draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant. Okay, but let's get back to the Atlas. After defeating all 3 new Pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps. These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory petals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps, making them far more rewarding. With all these new memory maps comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount, up to 100. This does a few things. When you identify the item, it will increase the tiers of modifiers your item has. Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better the item will be. On top of this, whenever you're crafting that item using currency orbs to replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful. The new Pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies, which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item. The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory
Нет, это не
strands,
зластая
you can
почти
add
механика,
some
чат.
before crafting it.
Memory Strength
Orb of
усиливает
Unraveling will consume
шанс
all
того, что
remaining
тир
memory
высокий
strands
будет.
on an item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers. This orb's effectiveness is based on the number of memory strands it consumes. The Orb of Intention can be used on memory influence maps to reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process of adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs. This has now been rectified. Both bosses now have Exalted Orbs, which can add their influence to an item. Zana was there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's storyline. Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete. It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them. In other news, there of course has to be Atlas passive tree support for this new endgame content. Let's take a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky. This means it will roll the number of memory strands twice, keeping the highest value. By allocating traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses, meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run. This is especially useful if you want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas. You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her, find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal-empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful new items. While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new endgame system, you
Ты
might have
смотришь
noticed that a
качество
lot of
стрима
gold was dropping.
720p.
Let's talk
Бля,
about
вы
that.
вообще ебанутые нахуй или чё? Я не понимаю. Ну вот, просто чё, блядь?
Operations of King's March. Along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market, and the passive respec system with Faustus. Those features offered by Faustus will be here to stay, along with some of the other services Kingsmarch has to offer. We'll get more into that later, but don't worry, Kingsmarch has already been completed. There will be no more town building. Like before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league.
Все уже построено
Time
будет,
to
чат.
talk about Mercenaries of Trathus.
Так, Лишка.
In this league, you will meet veterans who have travelled all the way from the lawless cities of Trathus. They're ready to offer their sinister services, but not for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and items already equipped. After meeting them, as per the Trathan code, they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and conviction. Before beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects augmenting those skills. You must now make a choice. You can hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from defeating monsters, as they've been crafting their items too. They can also come equipped with unique items, those that would make sense for the skills they are using. There are even some new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One such unique is Scornflux. These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While equipped, increases to cast speed from Arcane Surge also apply to movement speed, which is worth noting is now 20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from 10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trathus. They are less common, but have far better items. And they are also the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage. Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification. If you're not swayed by any of their equipped gear, however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item. You aren't bound to Trathan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Almost at me. Well, not really.
While playing in a party, each player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch. Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up the allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead. Good.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an Eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused Scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided. When I'm playing a more aggressive character myself though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a Striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike, and if you're lucky, a very rare golden support, that causes the fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well. He will also frequently
У них
use
свои
Enduring
саппорты
Cry,
типа.
taunting enemies off of me and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back. Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trathan version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them. Then defeat them, and they'll drop the Trathan gem as promised. You can only have one
Прикольно.
mercenary accompanying you at
У
a
них, короче,
time,
свои гемы
but up to 3
будут.
total in your service. The other 2 will wait patiently in town. Having varied options is useful, as there may be situations where you need specific backup, like a difficult boss fight. Any of your mercenaries you have active, or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing. They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance through the campaign and endgame.
Сюда, блять, а работ для каждого
If your
нахуй.
mercenary falls in combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet. Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to clarify, mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated. If your merc buddy consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
You walk your path, I'll walk mine.
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries.
Уволен, увы.
If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then choose to exile them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside these new Trathan arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalgurin ones too. As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeccing of passive points. You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestil and Lionized Watch. Black
Неплохо.
market item gambling, previously just available in Kingsmarch, is now available in each town at the same NPC. This lets you buy randomly generated item bases for gold. Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique. The currency exchange will be returning too. Starting from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who can help facilitate these trades. Now, after almost a year of building, Johan is finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town, and now its services can be used to their full effect. Kingsmarch is going core, but there will be no more town building. As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalgurin workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalgurin ports, and they'll return rewards in kind. By sending shipments, you'll receive different items, but by sending to Karui ports, you will also receive tattoos, which can be used on your passive tree to change what stats they grant. The Kalgurin ports will be sending back rune grafts, which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town. These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery node. For example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves. Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low life. And the
Нихуя, блядь.
Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their cooldown, which I will note includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells. There are many other Runegrafts which cover a wide range of different builds and stats. Some are more common and others rarer. You can only use one of a given type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be particularly useful for off-class investment. Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator. She has developed a new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2. For those unfamiliar, This method allows you to decide which modifiers on the two input items you want to try merge together, and it has a success chance you can see. This method can result in the items being destroyed.
Прямо
However,
спой
it is a
2.
good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use
Да,
as
да,
crafting
да,
projects.
Никогда нахуй не увидеть.
Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way. Decide
Не,
it will combine the two
красава.
items randomly.
Красава.
There is
Не,
no
ну,
risk of
так
destroying
красава.
either item, but it will be less predictable.
И такой рекомбинатор. Хочешь так, хочешь так. Блять,
As
какие
Settlers is now a
суки
core mechanic,
хитрые,
we've
блять!
also added Atlas passive tree support. For example, if you wanted to gather more Verisium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node. Refiner's Bargain converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs, so you can add more ore deposits, increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores. To sum it all up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft items, and run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and rune grafts, using those to modify your passive tree to an extent never seen before. Following on from that, we've also made a substantial rework to another important mechanic, Betrayal. As a refresher, and to explain to new players, let's briefly explain what Betrayal is. Betrayal is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoy and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a
Вот она,
mysterious group of
июньчик.
exiles who can seemingly come back from
Июнь,
death.
кстати, месяц.
You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: transportation, fortification, research, and intervention.
Да, блять, что ты для долбоебов
As
объясняешь?
you encounter the Immortal
Там
Syndicate
ебанатые
members,
спои 2 все
you
равно в
gain
первую не
intelligence for
зайдут.
each of these
блять,
divisions to
старая
discover the
игра,
location
блять,
of their leaders,
блять.
tracking them to their safe houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind. In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time. Historically, after encountering and defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the Immortal Syndicate would reset, requiring you to start from the beginning of the investigation again. This has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad. Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long setting up? Well, in the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic. The boss is now accessible through a
Проходка
new
на
fragment
Катю.
that has a chance to drop from the safe house. The Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate.
Фарм Гравициуса, пока очко не выпадет.
Optimize it, do Mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without
Да его
having to lose
понерфили
all your
100%.
progress every
Слишком
time.
сильный был.
The boss fight itself has also been improved, now with significantly fewer immunity phases and new rewards. By the way, if you're a new player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace. The Mastermind still has a chance to drop a Veiled Orb, now renamed to Veiled Exalted Orb. Veiled Chaos Orbs are being re-added to other safe house leaders. In addition, the Mastermind now drops the new Allflame embers. Allflame embers are map fragments that replace monster packs in endgame maps with different types of special monsters. These packs have unusual properties, compositions, or rewards. For example, you might use the Allflame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with Syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding. It is our intention with Allflames to provide many different types that combine with other mechanics, multiplying with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways. Another good example of this is the Allflame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this Allflame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map. This can be useful when trying to create singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters. Something akin to meat
Нихуя, это
sacks,
что за
which are
скилл?
making a reinvented comeback with this update too.
Это ССТ новый какой-то.
Another is the Allflame Ember of Resplendence, which adds monsters that drop no items. But when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to enhance the drops of all other monsters. Allflame Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps. We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps. Perhaps you'll use all scarabs, all Allflames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you. The Mastermind's unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are now from a custom pool exclusive to those uniques. Bitter Bind Point, for example, can now have various Spectre-specific outcomes, such as +1 additional Spectre. Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all the Safehouse rewards have also been rebalanced. We've done a pass on the crafting sprees at the end
Чё,
of
блядь,
many
полторы
safehouses.
минуты сидеть
For those who
тыкать?
aren't aware how these crafting sprees work, well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it and a bunch of currency. There's a limited amount of time, and your only objective is to craft the best item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to have specific items on hand in order to best maximize your result. But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more powerful crafting options in each spree. Let's take a look at a few examples. In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill or luck with this Reflecting Mist crafting spree, and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise. And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated unique item, and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb, but not quite the same. Normally, you can only corrupt an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs. This orb also allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits, and has a much lower chance to brick the item. It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes. Of course, if you push your luck, you can still ruin the item. There are also crafting sprees where you still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item, then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs and orbs of chance, hoping to get your ideal unique. For most sprees, the rank of the syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests? These work just like the Emperor's Luck divination card and provide full stacks of currency. If you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines. Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game, so you
Nice.
don't need to run Betrayal to unlock them. They are instead found at the entrances to boss rooms and endgame maps. On top of that, you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items. You can just right-click them, or the equivalent on gamepad,
Всё,
and
пошла
select
нахуй,
which
блядь.
veiled modifier you want to unveil. Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Give me a... Shut up!
Shut up!
Now before we get into our quality of life additions, let's quickly talk about some character balance. We will be doing our regular character balance changes where we are bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but we are also focusing our attention on buffing some specific things. This includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting builds, channeled spells, adding new options to the Guardian, Berserker, Elementalist, Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes, which include some favourites from some of the alternate classes from Legacy of Freesia, and buffing a whole bunch of transfigured gems that never really hit the mark. Combined with the new endgame crafting, improved Betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new pinnacle unique items, new modifiers and Trathan gems from the Mercenaries, and of course the Mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about. Instead of delving into all of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality of life features that we know you've all been asking for. A lot of these have already been posted.
Пиздец, он продолжает пиздеть, алло, уже 35 минут
You can now
прошло.
pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu, or by opening any full screen interface, like the passive tree. You'll also be paused if any lag is detected or if you disconnect. It's worth noting that in certain Pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing. We're also making a change to how you use currency items on strongboxes and monsters imprisoned in essences. Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear. Valuable currency like divine orbs have been excluded from this as it would often be wasteful to use in this context. The same applies to essences with the remnant of corruption currency. Orbs of Horizon have been updated. They can now reroll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps. Doing so will reroll the base map and the Guardian of that map. The map device now has a small additional inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments. During breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach. On gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are nearby. You no longer have to kill all of them first. Vendor windows will now remember your last search. This is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight
Сейчас
all other
насрём в
items which
Regex.
that currency can be used on.
Regex 250
There are
символов,
many
там
other
ебать
quality of life
вообще.
improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes. Alongside the launch
Можно
of Secrets of
китайский
the
рассказ
Atlas,
ебануть
we are
тогда.
hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new Pinnacle bosses. The event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trathis League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners. Keep an eye on the news in the lead up to launch for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Frisian Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered, either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you. Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect. Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying enemies. You are the law while wearing the armor of the powerful Frisian Grand Magistrate. The Spider Blossom pet activates its defense mechanism. disguising it as an elegant flower when near rare or unique enemies. The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes in two forms. Equip either the Tombstone variant, which will leave tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise, or equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden flowers. Keep track of how well, or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout decoration. It will keep track of the total number of waves completed, the total number of ultimatums succeeded, or even failed. On top of that, it will track the total number of times you've defeated the Trial Master himself. The Crypt Keeper Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
6.
With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies. The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through. Become the true master of the undead by wearing the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It comes with a more armored helmet variant and a creepy mask with a spectral hood. Looking to have some fun during idle time in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration will test your reaction speed as you try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible in the shortest time. It also comes with a scoreboard, so you can try to set new records to show off to your friends or just visitors coming to trade. Equip yourself with the Ghostly Dead as you ride the line between the living and the dead with the Sacred Crypt Keeper back attachment. The Sacred Archives map device resembles a magical library with the works of scholars that come to life when you open a map. This map device tracks how many of each core league you've completed in in-game maps. These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile, Mercenaries of Trathus. Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of Trathus League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them in Path of Exile 1. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Secrets of the Atlas. With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news.
Ну, что могу сказать? Выглядит как будто победа, пиздец, жесткая. Выглядит как будто и нихуя себе победа, блять.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never
Теперь в нормальном колледе посмотрю.
discover who you are. Trust me. I should know. But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for, trapped within the Atlas. Reliving memories, made real.
What have you done?
Made grotesque. Made foul. These manifestations must be destroyed.
Their threads must be eradicated. I must have answers.
We must find the originator. We must save my sister.
Her power is an illusion made real.
deep the waters of life.
You're either a client or a target.
Target inside.
Job's done.
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Да, это жестко. В чем секрет там? Секрет, значит, такой, смотри. Сколько игроков будут делать из мирков ауробота? 100% или 99%?
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games. And today we're here to showcase a new expansion for PoE 1.
Да,
It's
его
certainly been too
рассказ
long since we had one of these.
тоже в 4К на
Now, we had
русском
some struggles
доступен.
as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now. Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June, and we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2. That means the next PoE 2 League will be in August, and the next PoE 1 League after that will be...
Бля, ну это жестко. Я доволен. Я пизда как доволен. Я в целом многого не ожидал. А показали экспеншн плюс лигу. Ебать. Изменений дохуище. Я так понимаю, Ascendancy половина переделают. В зависимости от того, кому что понравилось в ивенте с этой, блядь, где измененные Ascendancy были. Короче, жестко. Жестко, плюс насрал, плюс вытер, плюс еще насрал, блядь. И вот, блядь, вот, суки, блядь. Вот с Поя 2 садятся на оба стула. С Поя 1 садятся на оба стула. А с Поя 2-то почему у вас один стул, блядь? К примеру, в Поя 1 вот добавляют рекомбинаторы с выбором модов и шансом слияния. Ну вот, блядь, вы же можете сделать, вот, сука, вот, если вот хочешь вот так, а хочешь, ебать, вот так. Блядь, ну можешь же, блядь. Где вот они?
And it has a success chance you can see.
Вот, это крафт как в Поя 2. Рекомбинатор.
This method can result in the items being destroyed. However, it is a good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use as crafting projects. Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way.
Вот, ну вот можно же, блядь, ну вы же можете сделать, когда хотите, блядь. Ну можете же, блядь. Пиздец. Вот, эта кнопка позволяет юзать метод крафта из Поя 2, рекомбинатор, или базовый из Поя 1. Блядь, ну можете же сделать. Ну, блядь. Ну а в чем проблема-то с Поя 2 вот относиться к подобным вещам так же? Ну вот, какая вот проблема, блядь? Ёбаный рот.
By letting fate decide, it will combine the two items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable.
Да, Quality of Life наебенили, просто ёбнуться. Betrayal охуенно. Supporter Packs, ну хуй знает, денег пока не дам. Посмотрим, как играться Лига будет. Этот Кингсмарш в коре, и его не надо будет строить. Он full отстроенный. По словам разрабов. Хуй знает, что на самом деле. Посмотрим. Добавили с Settlers Лиги ноды в Atlas. Тоже. Ну и добавили вот с экспеншена тоже ноды. Хуй пойми, чё кого. Тоже надо смотреть. Новые камни не показали вообще. Так ничего тебе не покажут. Нихуя себе, блядь. Тут патчноут, я думаю, будет готов только, блядь, за день до старта лиги. Тут вообще пиздец. Ну, очень много всего. Главная лига простая. Не, в целом, у меня с анонсом какой-то сильной нагрузки не было. Ну, типа, на мозг. Что, типа, блядь, пиздец. Ну, то есть, сделали все охуенно. Сделали все сделали чуть-чуть получше. И в целом, ну, вот Ascendancy только почекать, да, там поменяли Ascendancy, сказали много у кого. Вот. Обещали уже сегодня почнут. Да, верим.